It's a crazy story out of Kentucky. Let me just give you some of these details. You're going to have a sheriff who shoots and kills the judge of the county of Letcher County. So Letcher County is eastern Kentucky, right next to Pike County, Letcher County, Harlan. Letcher County is in between Harlan County and Pike County. So let me just read some details here. They're not really telling us what the argument was about. They said 2:55 Thursday afternoon, so this was September 19th, 2024. September 19th, 2024. So a Kentucky sheriff is charged with the murder of a district court judge. It's a state judge, and it's for Letcher County, the district that he is in charge of. Kevin Mullins is the district judge, the local state judge, the trial court, the first court, with multiple gunshot wounds. So he's 54-year-old Kevin Mullins, 54 years old. KSP said life-saving measures were attempted but unsuccessful. So he wasn't dead. He wasn't completely dead. 911 call from the Letcher County Courthouse in reference to shots being fired from inside the building. So a Kentucky sheriff is charged with the murder. The Kentucky sheriff's name is Mickey Steins. So you got Mickey Steins, and then you got Kevin Mullins. And if you're just to judge just by their appearances, well, Kevin Mullins kind of seems a little goofy, and Mickey Stein seems to be straight-laced, to be honest with you. But let's see. I don't know how judges, are they appointed or are they elected? I know sheriffs are elected. So the sheriff has to get the will of the people. I think judges are elected too. So the coroner's office of Letcher County pronounced him dead. KSP preliminary investigation says that Letcher County Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins, 43, shot Mullins following an argument inside the courthouse. They say Steins was taken into custody at the scene without incident. So he just allowed himself to get arrested. Steins has been charged with 1 count of first-degree murder. 1 charge. Before being appointed by Governor Steve Beshear in 2009, Mullins was an assistant Commonwealth attorney for 9.5 years. As a prosecutor, he primarily focused on drug-related offenses. As a judge, Mullins gained attention for his efforts to treat those with drug addictions rather than keeping them behind bars. In 2010, he started a program allowing inmates with substance use disorders to enroll in inpatient treatment. As a condition of their pretrial release, Steins was elected sheriff of Letcher County in 2018 and 2022. So he still had 2 more years to go. Attorney General Russell Coleman announced that his office will collaborate with the Commonwealth's attorney for the 27th Judicial Circuit, Jackie Steele, as a special prosecutor's case. Attorney General Russell Coleman, I thought it was, what happened to the that other guy? So they say it's a developing story. Letcher County Judge Executive Terry Adams announced in a social media post that he signed an executive order to close the courthouse for Friday. So that's kind of a day late and a dollar short there. But the Judge Executive is the top executive for Letcher County. A lot of people want to say the top cop is either the lawyer, the DA, or the judge, or the sheriff, when it's actually the Judge Executive. So I have a little story I want to actually share with the public, with the world, with you, the people. Because I was in Letcher County in 2015, which means it's probably the same judge. I'm not for sure 100%, but Kevin Mullins, since he would be Letcher County's judge, I was in Letcher County for a summer. I ran for lieutenant governor. Ellis Keyes had invited me down. There's supposed to be a big debate. There's a big debate, and he said it was supposed to be somewhere. I drive 4 hours from Breckinridge County, to Letcher County. 5 hours. So I drive 5 hours out there, and guess what? Nobody else showed up. So really, just some old creepy fuck just kind of bullshitted me, and I believed his bullshit. So, yeah, that's and then when I was out there, I tried to make it work. So I was trying to hang out with the guy, talk to him about this and that. We had like a little bonfire. And then he had me digging a ditch. So I guess in his mind, I guess I was, 30-something and he's freaking 60-something. He was going to put me to work, right? Well, since you drove 5 hours here and to the middle of nowhere for a debate that never happened, why don't you dig my ditch? Dig your ditch? Where the fuck is everybody else at? And then the guy I was running with kind of pawned me off on this guy, and I should have had better agency than all this. But it's like you're running for office, you're trying to appeal to the thing, there's a debate, all right, drive down there, no debate, now what do you do? Now, talking to Ellis Keyes, he had claimed that he owned like 200 or 300 acres out there. Now, he's a creepy lying Confederate. He's a big Confederate defender. He was growing marijuana in the backyard, but he didn't know that he had a male plant, so actually he was like, his male plant was sort of ruining. I hear that if you have one male plant, then it pollinates all the female plants. I don't know. That was just some local talk. He also had like a can of stock, like a marijuana festival. So he owns like 10 acres or something. 10 acres, 40 acres, I don't know. But it's right next to an old coal mine. And the coal mine has been abandoned, but it's like, 1,000 acres. And so you just have 1,000 acres of all these mines and trails, and nobody ever does anything with it. That's why the reclamation projects are so important. So he's right next to this abandoned coal mine that used to be, popping and used to provide jobs, and now it's just dead. They went ahead and sucked every seam of coal out. And what he was going to do was adversely possess it. So the main entrance into the coal mine, he put no trespassing on. Adverse possession is you're not allowed to trespass on other people's land, but apparently if you trespass for 20 years, I think it's 6 years. If you could trespass for 6 years, this happened in 2015. He was already there for a year or two. I wonder if he's already adversely possessed 1,000 fucking acres. Because I told the judge and I told the sheriff and the whatever attorney was there, because Ellis had said he owned the land. I paid him $500 for just an acre, and then I built a little shack on top of a rock. But this is on the coal company's land. This isn't on Ellis's land. This is on the land that he was trying to adversely possess. He had started this corporation. Essentially, he was pretending to bullshit and say he was going to, bury people's bodies and shit. He was also notorious and litigious when it came to filing federal charges. He was just a weird, creepy fuck that lived at the back of the holler, and nobody liked him. Nobody on that holler liked him. He had no friends. He had this one sort of woman friend who, seemed like a little weirdo, but she seemed more normal than him. But it's yeah, I could see why you like him. But it's also why do you like him? So for, a minute it was okay. For about a week it was all right. I, went out there, got some lumber, built this little shack, and it seemed to be working okay, right? It's freezing cold out there. I'm barely surviving. And it just came from heartbreak. I just had somebody close to me that had lied to me. I had property, but I was paying for this rental company. He had property. In Breckenridge, there's some fucking land dealer, just liars all over the damn place. Daniel Boone and Abraham Lincoln are going to have to leave Kentucky because of the fucking land situation. But in Breckenridge County, basically I was doing a rent to own. I was doing a rent to own. And I paid for a year's worth of rent to own there. But, let's see here. This website keeps on slowing everything down. I'm going to have to shut it down. Mullins was a district judge of the 47th Judicial District. It provides over Letcher County. Steve Brashear had appointed him in 2009. He was elected to the position the following year. So judges are elected. District Judge Kevin Mullins was shot inside the Letcher County Courthouse. Allison Ball had confirmed he was the shooting victim on social media. So it's the county sheriff. The reason why this is very interesting, because cops get away with murder all the time. There are heroes, right? If they just shoot somebody, they just had a shooting in Russell County. And there are heroes, right? I mean, Josh Arnold, he had all those warrants. They tried to get him in for arrest. Shots were exchanged. There was a friendly fire. I think one shot another cop, but they shot the guy, right? So there are heroes. There are heroes. They'll get away with it. They'll get away with shooting their buddies. They'll get away with shooting, dude with 10 warrants. But will they get away with shooting a judge? It'd be weird to hear a judge rule over that case and be like, you know what? You're our heroes. Get the hell out of here. I'm sure what you say is true, and I'm sure that judge deserved it. I'm sure that Kevin Mullins deserved it. So he was assistant Commonwealth's attorney in Letcher County. He graduated from the University of Kentucky, attended the University of Louisville Louis D. Brandeis School of Law as a post-grad student. Mullins was an advocate. They keep on pushing this advocate thing. I think that it was Kevin Mullins. I was before a judge because Ellis Keyes had sold me land. I paid $500 and I didn't check any of the, the land office stuff. So basically all we had was a written contract. I wrote a contract and then he wrote a contract. So we just had this contract between the two of us that we both had signed. And it's $500. Who can get an acre of land for $500? But if it's an acre of that guy's property, well, shit. I got a bridge I'll sell you, right? I got some oceanfront property in Arizona that I'll sell you. So the only reason I knew Ellis Keyes was because of that debate, and he had fucking lied to me. And then I got my heart broken in Breckenridge County. This little kitten had died, and then a person close to me just lied about a family reunion, and it just fucking devastated the shit out of me. It just made me wonder, like, what the hell am I doing? And then, the fucking land company, they're acting stupid as shit, always being dicks. I'm fucking happy to pay my damn bill, but they're always like, it's like they want to take the land back from you. It's like their whole fucking deal is to take the land back. So I was reading Henry David Thoreau, and he said that he lived on Walden Pond to go to live deliberately. So I said, fuck it. He's got, 1,000 acres out there. If I pay you $500, can I stay on an acre? And we signed this contract. And so I stayed out there in Letcher County for a couple months. Now, Ellis is going to evict me from land he don't own, right? And then he's going to file a charge in the fucking local courthouse. And I go to the courthouse, and I think I'm in front of Kevin Mullins. And what I said to the judge, I'm nervous as shit, because it's like, are you a fair judge? Are you one of them piece of shit judges? I think there was a cop there that he was kind of listening to me, or a lawyer. I remember saying something like I should just take this to jury trial, but I didn't really care about Letcher County. I didn't meet anybody. I didn't love the land. And then because it was Ellis Keyes, he was kind of a fucking weirdo, so it was almost like the people in that holler was kind of fucking with me because they thought that me and him were in cahoots, but it was only about a month into it. Me and him got into an argument, or a week or so. Me and him got into an argument. Then we weren't good no more, but we got a contract. I'm going to live over here. You live over there. I remember one time I visited his trailer, and he just walks outside his house just like in a robe, like completely naked except for the robe. And it's kind of like, hey man, can you put some pants on? So, old, weird, creepy fuck. And so he evicts me, right? So he gives me eviction papers, which I'm on the cold, but he's trying to do adverse possession. But hell, I'm trying to do adverse possession. So I think I would have had a decent case. We had a contract. He's a liar. He lied about the debate. He lied about the thing. He saw me digging the ditch. So he's like, oh, this guy's a sucker. This is a nice one. And so I'm in front of a judge. I think it's Kevin Mullins. It could have been somebody else. And the judge didn't seem to really give a shit about the truth. He didn't care about what the objective truth is. How can you get objective justice if you can't get the objective truth? And then I told him just, I'm moving, okay? I got into this little land deal with him. Me and him are, getting along. I'm moving, and I did. I moved to Grundy, Virginia after this. Or Somerset. Where did I move to? Grundy, Virginia. And then to Somerset, and then another RV park, and then I moved to Colorado, right outside of Pueblo, then Pueblo, and then the SLV, and then to Nevada. I'm still trying to figure this shit out, frankly. But the reason that I was in Breckenridge County, because the fucking restraining order from my hometown, the old man wants to fucking attack me like he did 5,000 times, and so I have to, respect it. I'm lawful, right? So I'm the only dumbass out here following all the laws with everybody else. But meanwhile, nobody's following the fucking law with me. Anyways, I tell the judge that I'm moving, I'm getting out of here, so you don't have to worry about me. And he says, all right, I'll dismiss the case, but you got to promise me that you'll stay out of, I'm going to issue an order that you stay out of Letcher County for a year. And I'll give you a week to leave. And I said, okay. Fucking, yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I don't want to, why the fuck would I want to stick around here around fucking Ellis Keyes and his fucking stupid ass bullshit. I don't want to see Ellis Keyes walk around naked. That's who Letcher County is. That's what Letcher County is about. They knew Ellis Keyes. They knew that he filed federal fucking lawsuits. And the people in the holler didn't like him. They thought he was a weird, creepy fuck. And actually, there was this, he made weird-ass comments about kids. He's a weird dude. He's a weird fucking dude. So, we had a falling out pretty quick. I don't know the guy. I remember I went to the coal company property to let them know he's trying to take your property, man. And the coal company property is just like, you know, scared of me or something. And he's like, you should have told me you was associated with him. I'm not telling you I'm associated with him. I'm telling you he's a piece of shit. And if you let me stay on your coal company land, I'll make sure he doesn't fucking steal your land. But the motherfucker just didn't hear what I had to say. And he was just like, no, just no. So the judge, the lawyer, the cop, the coal company, everybody fucking knew, you know, that this guy's trying to steal this fucking land. I'm kind of curious, did he do it? I think it only takes maybe 6 years, 16 years, 20 years, I don't know. So the judge said, okay. The judge said, okay. Just promise that you won't be here. And then for a year, I was, you know, banned from living in Letcher County. Now, I got roots in Breathitt County, so I have Chitwoods and Deatons and Smiths, Bill Strong, the Strong Eversole feud, the Strong something feud. We're on Bill Strong's side. So I told him I was moving to Grundy, Virginia, and then I did. And then, you know, like I said, he made me promise to stay out for a year, which wasn't no thing, or he made an order or some shit. And then that's it. You know, Letcher County got to keep your Ellis Keyes, and you didn't get your John Masters. I remember when I ran for lieutenant governor, I got in trouble for not returning a library book, too. So, what the fuck, you know? I remember when I got a P.O. box, I was real happy about it, but Ellis was like just this greasy, sweaty, perverted fuck. We go to like a local shop, there's like a lumberyard right down the road, which was incredible. And then there's like this little corner store. And so we were at the corner store, and there was this kid, this little fat girl that was like scantily clad and was like, I want to throw up. It was just revolting. I was like, did you see that? And he was like drooling. He was like, yeah, he saw it and he liked it. He had suggested that, it's hard to talk about, frankly, but he had suggested, I said, did you see that? You know that kid? She's like, he said something about her being attractive. So that's the side that the judge and the police, they took his side because they don't like that he files these lawsuits, federal lawsuits, files the court, you know, files this, files that. I promised to leave, and then I left. And then that's essentially my Letcher County story. There wasn't too many good or bad moments, really. The people at the lumberyard, they seemed okay. I remember when I ran for lieutenant governor, I was talking to a couple folks. There was a guy that was trying to, you know, the media was shitting on me about the fucking library book. And then I got into an argument with some fucking principal. And he was trying to, you know, ask me about it. And then he was like, had his son there. And he was kind of like whispering to his son, like, watch him bullshit his way out of this. And it's like, motherfucker, if you're not going to listen to it, why don't you just, it was at McDonald's. So it was like, go get your fucking Big Mac. Quit talking to me. Sounded like that, but then I met an older man that had said something about, if you let me fish, I'll vote for you. And I was like, hell yeah, fish, hunt, as long as you got your, $5 permit or whatever. Hell, that should just be everybody. This is the commons, right? So if you're in public land, you could fish, you could hunt. He was like, I'll vote for you. And like I said, he came out stark naked. He, you know, one time when I knocked on his door, and then he also made that comment about that kid at that corner store. Just a real creepy fuck. Just a creepy motherfucker. So, he didn't own it. I know. He evicted me from property he didn't even own. I know. You got a bridge you'll sell me and I'll live on the bridge and then you'll put an eviction on. You need to get off my bridge. It's not your bridge. How can you evict me from a bridge that's not yours? And then I remember I went back to get some of my belongings and people picked my fucking house apart as soon as I left. Like I came back a month later or a couple weeks. And the house is basically fucking gone. You know, I had saved want to say maybe some marijuana. I had like a little bag of marijuana, so I went back and got it. And then when I went back to it, that motherfucker follows me up the lane. And so we had this weird fucking confrontation. It's just me and him out in the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere. So this has to do with the judge, right? So let's see. He didn't care for the objective truth. He didn't care about objective justice. I'm the accused, so he just automatically, basically used my fucking anxiety against me. It wasn't, hey, what's going on? What's this about? He didn't care about the facts of the case. And since I was like, man, I just fucking, let me fucking go. Let me get the fuck out of here. And he was like, sure, go ahead. So he took the side of the old disgusting, creepy-ass, lying Confederate son of a bitch named Ellis Keyes. Y'all still got your Ellis Keyes, probably still there. I will say this, I liked living in the mountains. It was fun living in the mountains. It was fun kind of being off the map, off grid. In a way, yeah, I didn't double check. I could have done my due deference. He said that he owned property. He didn't own the damn property. But when I was out in the mountains, it felt like Che Guevara, It felt like the Cuban Revolution. It felt free. It felt liberating. It felt awesome. Now, I got some questions with this case here. Mark O'Brien, a site supervisor of the Letcher County branch of the Hub and Addiction Recovery and Harm Reduction Service. The whole community grew together with Judge Mullins. He's been there for 20-something years, right? The Mountain Eagle reported Mullins was in his office in Letcher County when he was shot. Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins is the accused shooter. He shot him. You don't have to say allegedly. You don't have to say accused. I guess he does have the presumption of innocence until he's proven beyond a reasonable doubt. He killed him. Now, the only thing you could say, there's two justifications. Either it's a private police action. He tried to make an arrest, and the guy was wrestling with him, and then he tries to pull the gun. Judge Mullins, he's reaching for your gun. They always like to yell that. Either he was doing a private police action, and he was trying to arrest Mullins because he, found some shit on him, found some dirt on him, said something or came across something. If you witness a crime, cops are allowed to just put their hands on you, right? If there's probable cause of a crime, he's allowed to put his hands on him. Now, the other one is self-defense. So the only way that this thing is justified is if it was self-defense. If it was self-defense, that means he feared for his life or he feared for serious bodily injury. Those are the only two ways. So this is interesting because cops get away with, all kinds of murders and all kinds of shooting. And, man, we just love our cops or our heroes. Cops are good and bad. Cops are human. To err is human. That's why forgiveness is divine. So nobody is infallible except for the good Lord above, right? So when it comes to how jail works, so that's usually the cops, the DA, and the judge. They work in tandem, right? The cops nab them. The judge slabs them. The cops take them, and then the judge throws them into the pit, and then they never recover from there. Did they ever say, man, this shit just ain't fucking working? Now, technically speaking, the judicial branch has no sword. They have no purse. All they got is judgment. They basically have very little power compared to the executive and the legislature, and cops work for the executive branch. So cops don't work for the judicial branch. The judicial branch could order a cop to go make an arrest, issue a warrant. It's the judges that issue the warrants, the search warrant or the arrest warrants. So there's very much a symbiotic relationship between the DA and the cops and the judge. But since the cops are the executive branch, and that means the top cop isn't the judge, it's not the DA, it's not the cops. The top cop is the judge magistrate. It's the judge magistrate. You got the magistrates are the legislators, the city council, and the mayor is the judge. The mayor of the county is the judge executive. Now the judge knows that they got purse strings because they pay for the sheriff's department, so they pay for their, payroll, and they pay for their car and their gas. And not only is it the judge executive that controls the county, but it's the governor that controls the state, and then it's the president who controls the country. So who does the cops work for? Well, the cops work for the governor and the president and the judge magistrate. Now, they are elected in their own capacity, so they do have their own responsibilities, and they're beholden to the people, right, every 4 years. But since they're the executive branch, the judge executive's job is to make the arrest, to get the cops in line, to get the cops to execute the laws that he sees. So technically, the judge magistrate is the top cop. So you're not supposed to question the cops. Thin blue line, right? They never do anything wrong. They're our heroes. So, I mean, clearly this Steins, right, with, what's the sheriff's name? Clearly this Steins thought that his life was in jeopardy. He thought that there was going to be serious bodily injury, or he was trying to make an arrest. Now, I wonder, I'm saying all those things kind of in jest, but it could be any of those things. That would make it within the purview. The Trump v. U.S. decision says that as long as you were doing your constitutional duties, then you're immune from prosecution. So if this sheriff was within the confines of his constitutional duty, wouldn't he also get the same absolute immunity that a president would get? This ain't coming up, so I'll just say sheriff and judge. So we don't know anything about the case except that they're in a room, they're arguing, then the sheriff pulls out a gun and shoots the guy, and he's got multiple gunshot wounds. They try to resurrect him, so he didn't shoot and kill him right then and there. But I wonder, there's several things. What was the argument about? Were they sleeping with each other's wives? Was it a land deal? Did he come across, was it official misconduct? The judge could have tried to get him arrested for contempt. I'll hold you in contempt. Oh, yeah, what are you going to do? Go, get some bailiff, one of my deputies to arrest? You got your own? Get a constable? Get one of your DA investigators? Get one of the, it'd have to be the bailiff, right? So if he threatened to hold him in contempt and therefore he's going to get arrested, and I'm going to arrest you first, and then there's a scuffle, then they're fighting. Then I wonder if there's like drug arrest. Maybe the judge wasn't rubber stamping everything that the sheriff was doing, because the judge is supposed to judge and the sheriff is supposed to sheriff, and then the sheriff kidnaps the body, and if the judge is just follows the leader, right, just the tail wags the judicial dog, then that means the judge will just cover the cop's ass. But that's not how justice works. Justice is eye for an eye. Everybody's equal before the law. We have a nation of laws. It has nothing to do with if a citizen arrests a cop, that citizen should be given the same due deference as a cop arresting somebody else. So I could see a situation where the judge says, I'm going to arrest you for contempt, and then the sheriff says, no, I'm going to arrest you for official misconduct. Just turn it right back on him. No, you're making an unlawful arrest. No, you're breaking the Constitution right now. You're going to arrest me for contempt? You're the one that's sitting there, you're being contemptuous of my behavior. I arrested this guy, and you're letting these people just fucking walk out of here free. Maybe the judge threatened other charges. Maybe the judge threatened some big charges. Maybe the sheriff threatened some charges. But the only two justified is, if he was self-defense, he feared for his life or severe bodily injury. And then if he was making a private police action. So, the judge technically could have tried to arrest the sheriff. You're not going to put your hands on me. If you put your hands on me, then I'm going to defend myself. So it's almost like, I guess you don't want to just do hand-to-hand combat because the gun is right there. So if they're like rolling around on the ground, he went for my gun. So this is a very interesting case. I don't know if it's that judge. It seems like it would have to be that judge because he would have been the judge of Letcher County in 2015 since he's been the judge there since 2009. So he would have been judge there for 6 years, and this was 9 years ago. So he'd been judge in Letcher County for at least 15 years. And then that's it. That's my little story about this. Can we pull up some information on this? Andy Brashear says he's been informed a district judge was shot and killed. There's far too much violence in the world. He prays that there is a path to a better tomorrow. Let's see, what else do we got here? Why did the sheriff shoot the judge in Letcher County? Trooper Gayhart said that a preliminary investigation alleges that 43-year-old Letcher County Sheriff Sean M. Steins from McRoberts fatally shot Mullins after an argument. inside chambers. Gayhart added that the motive was unclear and that no one else was inside the judge's chambers when the incident occurred. So it's just those two guys. So it's been his word versus his word. But the man is dead. I once heard that a dead man tells no tales, but a dead man says nothing. So he doesn't tell any truth. He doesn't tell any tales. And I know that the truth is complicated. So there's no simple explanation to any of this. And only the guy knows. Mickey Steins is the only one that knows what happened. Or Sean, I guess Sean Mickey Steins. He's the only one that knows for sure. So all we got is his testimony, and then we got all the circumstantial evidence in the world. What was the papers that was on the desk? How were they positioned? The blood splatter report. And then he would have a dash cam. He would have the body camera. So it's like, man, he just came for me and I had to defend myself. Or I tried to arrest him and he just started resisting. And I said, stop resisting. And I pulled out my baton and I started clunking him over the head. And then he swung a fist at me. And then I had to defend myself. I was so scared. I was scared for my life. And then it has to do with your intentions too. So, like I said, only Mickey Mullins, no, Sean M. Steins, Sean Mickey Steins, and Kevin Mullins. So only Mickey Steins knows, the only living witness of this whole thing. Now, people would have seen them walk into the courtroom. Was this in the middle of a dispute? Did they say, hey, come to my chambers? And then they would have seen them walk out. So who were the initial investigators? What did they see? They should put out a report. And again, if I'm the governor, I think it's such a good idea just to go there and get your first impression of the scene. What are people saying? What had happened? Now the sheriff is in custody. Who's in charge now? Is it the deputies? Is there a second deputy in charge? Or all the cops in charge? It's a police state now. It's just a totalitarian police state in Letcher County now. They don't have a judge, so if the cops did arrest anybody, who would they take it to? Do they have a magistrate? I guess Andy Brashear is going to have to appoint somebody else and appoint somebody down there quick. Probably put state patrol down there too. So crazy. Fucking crazy. I'm very curious about why this happened. And I would like to see the report. I'd like for somebody to go down there and give me the first impression. Just give me the first impression, you know. Talk to that person, talk to the neighbors, talk to the personnel that was in the courthouse at the time. You could just talk to the people and you could hear all the rumors, right? Everybody's saying everything. So you could just kind of, you know, put a whole bunch of questions together and then find out the people that was in the courthouse. What was the thing that had precipitated it? Was there phone calls? Look at the computer? Were there papers on the desk? And then, hell, he might have actually said something. Mickey Steins might have actually told the person that arrested him. He got arrested without incident, so he isn't running off. He didn't, like, run out into the woods. So does that mean he just knows that he was going to get nicked, or does it mean that he felt like he was justified? If he felt like he was justified, then he'll take the arrest. He'll fight his case in court. He'll get, you know, lawyered up. There'll be another judge. And then there'll be a jury trial. And then a jury of Letcher County, 12 Letcher County. Well, you have to get the grand jury indictment first, right? And then a petite jury. So you have to get 12 plus 12. And then either a conviction will happen or a conviction won't happen. It's a crazy fucking world, man. Crazy world.